Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Inside Track, Equibase's weekly handicapping podcast, where we give our analysis, picks, and wagers for a couple of the weekend's top races. I'm your host, Ben Kudla, and today I welcome back Equibase's national racing analyst, Ellis Starr, on the show to give his picks for a couple of fantastic stakes races on the opening weekend card at Saratoga. Ellis, always fun to have you on the show. Your handicapping insights are invaluable. Always fun talking horses with you. So thank you so much for being on today.
It's my pleasure. I forgot to get my drumsticks. I got to get drumsticks.
I know that song cranks you up, right?
That theme song wants me to use drumsticks.
Well, you thank Greg from ABR for making that one. But anyway, it was a fantastic weekend of racing across the country for the holiday weekend last week, highlighted by the inaugural 4th of July festival at Saratoga. Test Score prevailed to win the Grade 1 Belmont Derby after a bobbled start for trainer Graham Motion Ammerman's Racing's second consecutive Belmont Derby win. Hope you listened to the Inside Track, as Test Score was my top play last week. Zulu Kingdom remained a perfect 3 for 3 this year with a win in the Grade 3 Manila Stakes, and that was Pete's top pick last week on the Inside Track. The Grade 1 Belmont Oaks, sensational race with Fion surging late in the stretch to catch heavily favored Nitrogen by a nose and set a track record, going a mile and an eighth on the turf in 144.84. Obliteration lived up to his name yet again, dominating that Grade 3 Sanford Stakes by 10.5 lengths. Magnitude romped in the Iowa Derby by 9.25 lengths, first off the 5-month layoff. Sweet Azteca set a track record winning the Grade 2 Great Lady M Stakes out there at Los Al. Tip Top Thomas, great pick by none other than Ellis on his blogs last week, also set a track record winning the Grade 3 Indiana Derby and bring the band home. A 7-year-old gelding for the Mark Casse barn earned the highest Equibase speed figure of any horse this year for his 4.25 length victory in the Harvey Pack Stakes, going 5.5 on the turf in 59.9, just 0.1 seconds off the track record set by Cogburn. But now, as finally officially the opening weekend of Saratoga's 40-day meet, which is today, Thursday. In today's show, we'll be given our picks for the Grade 1 Diana Stakes and Grade 2 Bowling Green Stakes on Saturday, as well as the Grade 3 Quick Call Stakes on Sunday at the Spa. So before we begin, the race, the NHC is back. The first of 25 contests was last weekend, and the next one is this Saturday on horseplayers.com. The race to the NHC is a free contest for Raceland subscribers, with most contests on Saturdays at horseplayers.com. It's a pick and pray. The top 2 from each contest will make their way to the Raceland's Final 50 contest in February. And the top 2 from the Raceland's Final 50 earn a seat to NHC 2026, along with a travel voucher and a 4-night stay to Horseshoe Casino in Las Vegas. So sign up and play today at equibase.com/NHC. And with the race to the NHC beginning now is the perfect time to capitalize on big savings with a subscription to RaceLens. Now through August 1st, get an annual subscription to RaceLens for just $699, normally $999, with promo code RLA699S at checkout. You can see that at the bottom of your screen. That's RLA699S. And RaceLens, fully customizable, intuitive handicapping tool, which helps Scott Coles and Dan Piazza win the NHC in 2019 and 2025. Trusted by the best and used by many. Try RaceLens today at equibase.com/RaceLens. So let's just dive right in and go in order. Grade 2 Bowling Green Stakes, race 8 on Saturday's card at Saratoga with post time of 4:29 p.m. Eastern, mile and 3/8 on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was Silver Knot for trainer Charlie Appleby with Flavian Pratt aboard. Field of 8 on Saturday, plus 3 main track only entries. Ellis, who you going with in here?
Well, there's no foreigner this year, so got to go with some domestic horses. And my top pick is the 6 Harrow, as you can see, using the RaceLens True Odds grid, we call it. Been put up morning line of a fantastic 8-1, in spite of the fact getting Irad Ortiz for Safi Joseph. Irad Ortiz had ridden El Razine, trained by Todd Pletcher, and he got off El Razine. He rode the horse to 2 wins earlier this year in the last 2 races as well, including a runner-up in the third-place finish in the Jockey Club Derby. But Harrow is a really nice marathoner on the grass. He won the Barbados Gold Cup one before last. And what's really nice is that last race, the Cape Henlopen at Delaware Park on June 14th was off layoffs to March 1st since going to Barbados, and it was a really good race. And we're going to take a look at it. And he is going to be number 6 here, and we're going to pick it up at about the 220 mark. Ben, you got it there?
Oh, well, we're at 2-11 right now, but that's all right.
Fine. Go ahead and make it up. Yep. And Harrow, as I said, is number 6. Also, number 8 starting over in this race is way back right now. But Harrow's going to sit and this start to make his move 3 wide. And it's going to be a really good move. Now, what's interesting here is he's going to engage these other 2 horses starting over. And they took the other horse's name off. I can't remember now. And the eventual winner is going to come and get them all. But this is a great battle. And I don't know if Harrow sees the one until it's too late. But look at him come on there and just get second by a neck. And that was a game effort. If you take Vote Now out of the race, which he's not running in this race, then you've got a top effort. It's a 107 Equibase speed figure. It was a really good race. Harrow has won 10 of 28, 8 of 19 on the grass. He loves the turf. He's as good as the favorite we'll talk about in a second, Far Bridge here, but he's 8-1 versus 6-5. Far Bridge has really no knocks. He's 8 for 17. They both, Harrow and Far Bridge, have 8 career wins on the grass. Far Bridge has 2.6 million. Harrow has 300,000. But as far as efforts, just as good. Last year at the Saratoga meet, Far Bridge won the Sword Dancer Stakes at 1.5 miles. He comes into the race off a neck defeat in the Manhattan, a really good effort to deterministic and integration. And he runs okay. He won two in a row before that and lost the British Cup Turf, and 2 before that. Certainly has no knocks, but 6-5, not a good win price, even though he's a contender. The other horse to consider real quick is the one starting over. It shouldn't be 15-1. He got beat 3/4 of a length for the win in that Cape Henlope, and Harrow's 8. So you'd think starting over would be about 10, maybe at the most. But you got to use him. So my plays in the race are going to be Harrow to win. It's going to be exact box of starting over Harrow and Far Bridge, and maybe a small win by starting over if he's 10-1 or more, because he could actually win this race. He's run well enough to win. He won the Mac de Armida at this 11 furlong trip back in March. And that's my picks. In the Bowling Green, should be a great race, even an 8-horse field. Lots of value if you get away from the favorite Far Bridge.
Oh, it is going to be a great race. Great betting race. No knocks in the Harrow. And as we'll see later on in the show, Ellis is on that Saffy Joseph Jr. train. But anyway, I know it's not a sexy pick, as Pete Fortitale likes to say, but I think Far Bridge, not a long shot play, but he seems much the best in here for the Miguel Clement stable with Joel Rosario aboard. Over the past year, this horse has just been a monster. Last August, won the Grade 1 Sword Dancer Stakes, as you said, running a 1:13, going 1.5 miles on the turf over measured time, Silver Knot, and Grand Sonata. 3 very nice horses. Comes right back for 2nd consecutive Grade 1 win in the Turf Classic Stakes. At Belmont had the Big A, also going 1.5 miles on the turf, earned a 1:16. Equibase speed figure of that performance. Did not fire in that Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Turf, finishing 9th by 5 3/4 last November, but takes a 4-month layoff, and he's having a really nice 5-year-old campaign. Beat Corruption by a neck in a hard-fought battle in the Grade 3 Pan American Stakes in March at Gulfstream Park. Comes back a couple months later doing the Grade 2 Manowar Stakes at Belmont, the Big A, in May. And last time out finishes 3rd by a neck beyond stablemate Deterministic. In a late charging integration, going 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. But going back to his preferred longer distance in here, where he's 1 for 2 and horses for courses, he's got 1 win and 3/3 over the Saratoga turf. Ranked first in average class with a 1:16, ranked first in average speed with a 1:12, ranked first in late pace rating with a 1:13. Here's a little race lens angle for you that you can hear that shines in green for you when it's a positive ROI. But horses in turf route graded stakes races with the highest late pace rating win at 25% and 54% in the money with a positive 17% return on investment with a success score of 8.2 out of 10 over the past year. So, I like to look at that late pace rating, especially in these turf routes. So this horse has run 9 consecutive races with a triple-digit Equibase speed figure. That 1:19 he ran last time out in the Manhattan is tied for the best speed figure of any stakes non-winner at any age across North America who has yet to run back. So that was a mighty good 1:19. I think he'll be sitting pretty stalking and just pouncing that final turn like he usually does. Definitely won't be a big price, but could be an anchor for me in pick 3s and pick 4s. So I know it's not the nicest pick in the world, and 7-5, 6-5 was a little bit of a disappointment. Let me put my picks up there for you. Sorry. And this Corruption, really interesting horse, steadily improving. 4-year-old Medaglia d'Oriel gelding for the Mark Cassie barn. Javier Castellano gets the mount. Started his career finishing last and main special weight before switching from Pletcher to Cassie, and finishes second to last first after the trainer switch, and goes down into a maiden claimer to break his maiden by half a length at Gulfstream in January, going a mile on the turf. Comes right back to win next out in the starter allowance again at Gulfstream, going a mile on the turf, improving to an 88 Equibase speed figure. Wins his third race in a row, an allowance optional claimer at Gulfstream, going a mile and a half on the turf, improving to 100 Equibase speed figure. Runs a very, very game second to my Farbridge in that grade 3 Pan Am in March. Looked like Farbridge is going to swallow him up, but just hung really tough on the rail after leading the whole way, and it just narrowly missed by a neck, earning a 108 Equibase speed figure. Comes back in May to win allowance optional at Churchill, going a mile and a quarter, again earning a 108, and then finishes fourth behind Farbridge in the grade 1 Manhattan last out, earning a career best 112 Equibase speed figure. Consecutive increasing Equibase speed figures for every start of his life. So I think his potential is pretty huge. Was not really a factor at the end of the Manhattan, but he steadily kept on and finished fourth. On the true odds page with default factors, we'll go over here. They give him a 45% chance to win. So pretty interesting. And adjusted true odds being 6-5. So something to take note of. And Cassie was on a tear last week as well in Saratoga, with 8 of his 11 starts finishing in the money with 3 wins. Over the past year, Cassie and Castellano win at 32% in all turf races. 7 wins from 22 starts, 59% in the money, with a positive 43% return on investment. I think he could run a really big race here. And then I had to go with this 2 for my third place bet. I don't think he's going to win, but he's another steadily improving 4-year-old colt by English Channel out of a Kitten's Joy Dam. Talk about some turf breeding right there. Dylan Davis is back aboard for Todd Pletcher. Davis is aboard for both. El Razine's wins. However, I read Ortiz Jr. was on him in his last 2 starts, getting off. But nice race lines angle when Dylan Davis is reunited with a horse he's won on before, but was not aboard last time out. He wins at 34% in the past year, 10 wins from 29 starts, 58% in the money, with a 7.5 out of 10 success score on race lens. Took him 5 starts to break his maiden, but he did so earning a 100 Equibase speed figure last July, going a mile and a half on the turf at Saratoga. Comes right back to win an allowance race, this exact 1 3/8 distance on the turf at Saratoga, where the 2nd and 6th place finishers came back to win in their next start. Runs a very game third in that grade 3 jockey club, as you mentioned prior, on the at Belmont at the Big A last October to Carson's run in Deterministic. And last out, runs second to Hershey, an allowance race at Keeneland, which I know, Ellis, you and I were both there to watch that in person. I just don't think this horse will necessarily win, but he could get up for third or even second. And Davis and Pletcher do pretty well at Saratoga as well. Past year, they win at 33% together in all races. So there's my top 3, going Farbridge over Corruption over El Razine. But for me, I think it's just an easy Farbridge anchor and single. So that's what I'm going with. Good, but no knock on your Harrow. 8-1. I like that.
I would just say no knock on Corruption, except for I just wonder if he doesn't like the inner turf. Now, when he debuted, of course, debuting a mile and 16th way back in 2023 for Pletcher, he ran lousy, but that's tough as well. But that last one, he just pretty much fourth around the track. So I'm not knocking him. I certainly are going to get 5 or 6 to 1, but I just wonder if he just doesn't like the inner turf at Saratoga, where certainly El Razine has won on the inner turf, of course. Farbridge has. Harrow has neither. So, that hasn't run on the inner turf. So that's the one question I have, but that's why I'm getting 8-1.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I wonder what Corruption will end up being at post time. I mean, 5-1. I don't know.
Maybe 5 or 6. Yeah, off that 4th place finish at 10-1, I can't see the public jumping on him overall. Farbridge 6-5. I think he'll be a little lower than that. I mean, he was in the Man of War. It was a 5-horse field. He was 3-5. He was 4-5 in the Pan American in an 8-horse field. So I expect about 4-5. That'll keep Corruption at a decent price for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, I think I'm just going to single Farbridge and a couple pick threes. It's kind of how I'm going to play it. But anyway, let's move on to the Diana Stakes. The 11th race on Saturday at Saratoga with a 6:14 p.m. Eastern post time, mile and an eighth on the inner turf for fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up. Last year's winner was White Beam for the second consecutive year for trainer Chad Brown with Flavian Pratt aboard. Chad Brown has won this race 8 times in the past 10 years, and 2 of the 6 entries has 2 of the 6 entries in here on Saturday. So, do you think Brown gets his 9th Diana win?
No, and it's really interesting though. I mean, all 6 can win. There's no question in my mind. Yeah. I'll get to the long shot in a second, but you've got just 2 million heiresses and a bunch of other horses. I think I wrote on my race of the week 18 for 55 after Be Your Best, and She Feels Pretty. The rest are still pretty good, with $500,000 average earnings. And there's a saying, and I've said it to you, my friend, but saying I learned a long time ago, which is grade 1 winners win grade 1 races. So when you're at this top level, you got to start with grade 1 winners, and you see grade 1 winners that are almost the same, and then you see price differentials. You got to go with it. And that applies to Be Your Best. I know them take away a little of your thunder because we discussed this yesterday. It's going to be your top pick too, I believe. But certainly 6-1. She was 2-1 winning the grade 1 Gamely Stakes in California. Irad Ortiz Jr. went out to California to ride her that day, and he's sticking with her, which is a little interesting because he had ridden in the Jenny Wiley, in which she really didn't run well at all. She was pressed in second. She faded back badly. But that was a great race, and that was when she was sent to the lead, which also is how she won the Long Island. So we'll take a look at that race, the Gamely Stakes in California. I think we have it queued up. Pick it up about minute 35. Also in this race, so Be Your Best in this race is going to be the 8. And Lady Claypool, I want people to watch, is going to be the 1. And she's an interesting mare. We'll talk about her. Lady Claypool is pretty far back. Be Your Best is the 8. And she has been on the lead the whole time. And she is starting to just power away. And then watch on the outside in the yellow cap. Lady Claypool is going to win. I call it the race within the race because she's not going to be any chance to beat Be Your Best here. But she's running a race as if she was trying to win. She doesn't know perhaps the other horse is 5 in front. She's going to outgame for second pretty nicely. But Be Your Best is kind of under wraps here. And she ran fast. She ran, even on that fast turf, she ran 46 half mile, 109 and 6. Now, looking at the makeup of this field, there's no horse that's ever wanted to lead early in a race. So this gives Irad Ortiz exactly the same strategy and the ability to do what he did last time out, which is put Be Your Best on the lead. By the way, the Gamely was the same 9 furlongs as this, and to control the pace. He can go 46, 109, which is probably not a good idea on the Saratoga turf, but he can still go slower. And I think that creates a tremendous edge for Be Your Best because you get this filly who can finish fast on the lead. She still ran 12 and 4/5 on the lead. She's run 23 for the last quarter. I think she just slows it down. And no matter how good She Feels Pretty is with that kick, which is about 11.6 for the last 8th, she can win. Be Your Best got a 110 Equibase speed figure, winning the, scroll up just a little bit here so you can show the viewers. Be Your Best a 110 Equibase speed figure, which was a career best for her. And then She Feels Pretty, if you want to go to the 1, click on the 1 here. She Feels Pretty got a 111. So they ran just about as fast, but the difference is 6-1 versus even money. So Be Your Best, I think, controls the pace here. And then certainly She Feels Pretty as a contender, but I'm going to give Lady Claypool a shot here because this filly tries so hard. As we saw, she rallied from last and passed everybody, no chance to claim Be Your Best. So she was 8-1 then. So we talk about odds differences again. This time it's about right. Be Your Best 6-1, Lady Claypool 8-1, but I don't think we're going to get that price. I think Be Your Best is going to be 3-1, and Lady Claypool is going to be 20-1, 15-1, which is ridiculous for a horse that ran so well. She hasn't missed the board in 5 straight all stakes. She won the Santa Ana before that. She gets Joel Rosario, and maybe if the favorite Farbridge wins the other stakes, Joel Rosario might get a stakes double on the card here. But this is not a bad horse. Richard Baltas, based in California, rarely ships to New York. He won the Jaipur Stakes with AG Bullet on June 8th, coming out of Kentucky, which he had her, but still shipping into New York. And I think he gets a nice price. So the play of the race is going to be, the exact play is going to be box Lady Claypool and She Feels Pretty, and box Lady Claypool and Be Your Best, and then a pretty nice win bet on Be Your Best. And that's how I see the Diana.
I love it. No, but no knocks at all, especially on Lady Claypool at 20-1 morning line. I kind of glossed over that horse, but wow, she beat Mrs. Astor too. So you made some good points on her for sure. And I'm also going to go with Be Your Best. We discussed this yesterday, but there's just no one in here wants to lead who has really shown any sort of early speed besides maybe Choicia. But I think this mare could just steal it on the front end like she did in that Grade 1 Gamely Stakes as we watched. No one wanted to lead in that race. She went for it. And at the third point of call, she was 4.5 lengths ahead, just never looked back. And she set that half-mile pace in the Gamely Stakes in 46.15, which you mentioned. That's the fifth fastest half-mile time of any turf route winner across North America in the past 2 months. And that 110, that's the third best figure of any turf route half-mile race leader and winner in the past 2 months as well. So that was definitely a big race. I can see why you like Lady Claypool as well for second. But anyway, back to Be Your Best. Prior to that disappointing effort in the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley at Keeneland, she won 3 consecutive graded stakes races. The Grade 3 Long Island going a mile and 3/8 on the turf. The Grade 3 Suwannee River Stakes back in December going a mile on the turf. And then she won the Grade 2 Pegasus World Cup Philly and Mare Turf Invitational by a neck in a thrilling finish at Gulfstream back in January. She also ranked first in early and middle pace rating in here, ranked second in average class, been working well at Saratoga. Talented filly who knows how to find the winner's circle, has a big chance of stealing it on the front end. 6-1, I just absolutely love. I think that's going to be my win bet, big win bet for the day on Be Your Best. And then, I had to put She Feels Pretty in there, obviously. Just an absolute beast for the Sherry DeVaugh Barn Hall of Famer. John Velasquez aboard, never finished out of the money in her entire life, 7 wins in second and 2/3. With 8 of those 10 career starts in graded stakes races. She won her last 4 races in a row, running a 110, Equibase speed figure or better on all those starts, as you can see. 3 of her last 4 wins were in Grade 1 races. The Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Stakes by stakes record, 6.5 lengths. The Grade 1 American Oaks by 2.5 lengths. And the Grade 1 New York Stakes last time out by half a length. Ranked first by a lot in late pace rating of a 113. Over the past month, DeVaugh's winning at 44%, 4 of 9 in all stakes races. That barn is hot. Horse has a win in the second from 2 starts at Saratoga, 2 for 2 at this mile and an eighth distance. Velasquez and DeVaugh's have teamed up with some really nice horses, including Vava and More Than Looks. They're winning at 40% together in graded stakes races in the past 3 years. 8 wins from 20 starts, 70% in the money. They're winning at 32% in all races together in the past 3 years. 12 wins from 38 starts, 58% in the money, and a positive 17% return on investment. Tough 1-1. I understand why, though. You look around paper, she's pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. But another horse I want to talk about is this 4, Excellent Truth. I think Brown has a really nice shot in this race with this mare bred in Ireland with Flavian Pratt getting them out, which is huge. She has yet to win in North America, but she did narrowly miss in 2 very tough Grade 1 races, finishing second to Choicia in the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley by half a length, and second last time out in the Grade 1 Just a Game Stakes at Saratoga by 3/4 of a length to Stable to Mate, and the 5 in here, Dynamic Pricing. She's closing pretty hard in both those starts in the States, which were a mile and 16th. So, and a mile. So maybe this stretch out to preferred distance, it could be pretty huge. Brown and Pratt in graded stakes races at Saratoga, no joke. Past 3 years, they win 33%, 15 wins for 45 starts, 71% of the money, a positive 59% ROI. Also, the fastest of the bunch in here, ranked first in average speed with a 108, and first in average class as well with a 108. But I think in the 6-horse field, they each got to hammer a win bet. So that's what I'm going to do on Be Your Best.
I did want to add, I forgot to mention, interesting, a lot of folks might look at Be Your Best lifetime record and see that her last race at Saratoga was the 3rd place finish in last August. But note that she does have 2 wins over the course. Believe it or not, she won her maiden debut at Saratoga. And if you have lifetime turned on, you can go all the way down to the bottom there.
I don't have lifetime turned on.
Okay. We'll fix that for next time. Well, I think you saw it. She has enough races there. She won her first race, career start on the inner turf at Saratoga back in 2022. And then she won the PG Johnson as a 2-year-old in the second career start. So both were a mile 16th, but she certainly has everything going for her that as far as liking the course. And that's another reason to like her in the Diana.
Look at that. A rare occurrence where Ellis and I actually agree on a horse. That could be the play of the day. But anyway, let's move on to Sunday. Let's switch days here on Race Lens. Give me a second. It's race 9, I believe. There we go. The Grade 3 Quick Call Stakes, race 9 on Sunday at Saratoga with a post time of 5:44 p.m. Eastern, 5.5 furlongs on the turf for 3-year-olds. Last year's winner was Starr of Mystery for trainer Charlie Appleby with Flavian Pratt aboard. Field of 7 plus the main track only entry. George Weaver has 4 of the 8 entries in here if you count that main track only. It's pretty wild. So you taking a Weaver horse in here? Or are you going with a different direction?
Different direction. I looked at it over and over again, and there's just some interesting philosophy. A lot of the horses here have only won on the lead, and then when they don't get the lead, they kind of follow the leader around. So I was looking for anything run off the pace, and the morning line is not out yet, but I think we're going to get a price. I'm going to go with the 4 No Evidence, as you can see there. And the reason is that her last race, the most recent one, even though it was an allowance race, and the one before that, Texas Glitter, once you scroll up just a hair to show the PPs, the last one, she did come from off the pace. She ran 3-3-3-2 and 2-2-2-2, losing by a nose. And that's where I want her to be. I want a horse that's going to be 3rd or 4th in the early stages here off of the pace. Manny Franco gets on for Miguel Clement. This is a nice filly. She's, again, stakes placed as much as anything else. And I expect she's going to be 3 or 4 to 1. So the horse that won that last race, Most Handsome, came back to win the Roar Stakes in May. I think she's got a shot. The 7, you can say that, how you look at it, Mo Handsome, came back to 1 off of the, what did I say? The Most Handsome, yeah.
Most Handsome, yeah.
Yep. So the next one to look at is the 7, Ortley Avenue. That's one of the Weavers. And the first time out, she went wire to wire, but the second time she showed a little bit of closing speed. I think Eric Cancel can ride very well. It's very interesting. I did not know Eric rode a lot for Weaver, but in turf sprints only, they're 5 for 26, Cancel and Weaver, the last 3 years. And the last time out, couldn't catch Most Handsome again in that Roar Stakes. So there's something in common between the 4 No Evidence and the 7 Ortley Avenue. They both lost to Most Handsome. And this is a nice filly also who's going to get a great trip. And last is going to be the 1 Jet Sweep Joe. I think it'll be a bit overlooked. What's interesting is shipped from the trainer's base in Kentucky to Woodbine to win an allowance race.
That was really interesting.
Furlongs on the grass with a big late kick. And then back. Now, if you look down a little bit here, you'll see the race at Saratoga last August, the Skidmore, as a 2-year-old. And this horse ran really well, leading and then getting beat ahead on the wire. And before that, in the Tyro at Monmouth, got beat to, guess who? Got beat to, Governor Sam, who's one of the contenders in here, but just by a nose. So I'm not sure I like the jockey change to Ben Curtis, not a knock, but I like the trainer shipping back to Kentucky after going to Woodbine, shipping back to New York, and getting a lot of pace to run at. So that's how I see this. Anybody can win, but I think there's going to be enough pace to set up these 3.
I agree that anybody can win. This is a tough race to handicap, especially since we didn't get the entries till last night. I went with a different route. I went with the 6 here, Insubordination, one of the George Weaver entries with Javier Castellano aboard. All European bred, was bought in Ireland, a Golf's yearling sale. Bred in Ireland, bought in Ireland, but never made a start on that side of the pond. Came to Saratoga to run the slop on career debut, finishing 2nd back in August of last year. Next out goes on the turf, going a mile and 16th, finishing 4th, then takes an 8-month layoff before breaking his maiden at Gulfstream in April, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf, earning a 94 Equibase speed figure. Where the 2nd and 6th place finisher of that race both came back to win in their next start. Goes back to that route distance, going a mile in the listed English Channel. A couple weeks later, finishes 5th on 5 1/4 lengths to Tank. Came back out to win the not surprising stakes next time out. Then 3 weeks later in May, he runs a very game 3rd in the Paradise Creek Stakes to my boy Clock Tower, going 6 furlongs on the turf. First time this horse will be going this short, going 5.5. But I think he's a true sprinter that just needs to figure a few things out. He's running every 3 weeks since that long layoff. And now he's got a little bit of a 1.5 month layoff going into this race, which is honestly what he might have needed. The past 5 years, George Weaver wins at 42%. Turf sprints at Saratoga first after a plus 45-day layoff. 8 wins from 19 starts, 68% in the money with a positive ROI. Hoping to get a pretty decent price on him with most of the money going on Governor Sam, I presume. And second, I do like your 4 quite a bit. No evidence. Nice improving Vekoma Colt for Miguel Clement Barn first after the trainer switch. Roosevelt 8 great father Christophe Clement. Manny Franco aboard. I love that. Started his career at Saratoga, finishing third to Governor Sam and Test Score. We saw win the Grade 1 Belmont Derby last weekend. After that, he takes a 7-month layoff. Kind of odd, but he breaks his maiden by 1 3/4 lengths at Gulfstream, going 5 on the turf, running an 84 Equibase speed figure. A month later, he runs second by a neck in that Texas Glitter Stakes at Gulfstream, narrowly getting caught there, earning an 86. Then runs a career best 89 last time out in the AOC in April, finishing second. But he was gaining at the end, going 5 furlongs on the turf. So a little stretch out here is good. The horse who won Most Handsome, like you said, came back to win the Roar Stakes. So it's a nice stretch out, really nice speed progression, especially for a 3-year-old, 74 to 84 to 86 to an 89. Never been out of the money in 4 career starts, been working well as well at Saratoga. I think we'll get a nice price on him. And then I also had to go with Governor Sam here in the 3rd spot. Kind of looks like the best of the bunch for George Weaver, with Irad Ortiz getting the mount, which is interesting considering he probably had the pick of the Saffy horse and here if he wanted. But Weaver and Irad have had some success together in turf races. The past 3 years, they went at 33% in all turf races together. 12 wins from 36 starts, 56% of the money with a positive 11% return on an investment. And last summer, this horse is just a beast. He won 4 consecutive races, including 3 stakes races. Broke his maiden over Grade 1 winner Test Score at Saratoga in July. Comes right back to win that Tyra Stakes at Monmouth over year 1 Jet Sweep Joe. Wins the Exacta System Rosie Stakes at Colonial by 2 lengths. And won the Indian Summer Stakes at Keeneland by a neck before finishing 3rd by just a length in that Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Earned a 106 for his performance in the Breeders' Cup, but he's yet to find the winner's circle since last October. And he honestly might be a different horse following this Breeders' Cup. Finishes 3rd after a long layoff in the William Walker Stakes at Churchill in April. Then last time out finishes 4th in Allowance in June, but that was taken off the turf. So think of that as you will. But I suspect this horse will be 1-1. He just does not really excite me that much for a presumably odds-on horse. But he's first in average class, first in average speed. Been working well. I'll have him on my ticket, but I think I'm going to go with the 6 Insubordination in here.
No knocks at all. The thing about Governor Sam is, so Jet Sweep Joe, as we talked about, he's got that big late kick, so he's going to take back. That puts Irad almost like as if he had the rail on Governor Sam. And the one time he rode Governor Sam, when he broke his maiden at Saratoga last July 2024, he sent him to the lead. And then his other time he broke inside the 2-post in the Rosie Stakes at Colonial, he went wire to wire. So I think from the inside he has to go. And the question is, can he clear a horse like Grayscale, whose only win came on the lead? Can he clear a horse like Supersonic Blue, who both wins have been on the lead? And so if he gets any kind of battle, he's suspect, which is, yeah, I see you're using him. That's fine. But it's really hard to bet a horse like this at likely low odds if, in fact, he's going to get ding-dong in the early pace with 2 or 3 other horses.
Yeah, Grayscale. I really wanted to add him on my ticket. Just such a question mark first time on the turf, which Saffy actually does pretty well, winning at 20% in the past year, first turf. But I don't know. I just couldn't see it, especially with Irad going to Governor Sam.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
There you have it. There's your Grade 3 quick call stakes. So that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Ellis, for being on the show. Good luck in all of your wagers this weekend, and we'll see you next week.